It's the 7th of February 2023 at 2:40 in the afternoon. I slept until like 12 or 12:30. I felt like just dead to the world. I couldn't get up. I was just mind, body, soul exhausted. Thankfully, Andrew popped over because I'm really not sure what time I would have gotten up, and I'd organised to have my groceries like click and collect between 9 and 10 because I always figure if I do it earlier and I'm up, that's great, and if I'm not, it doesn't really matter. I have just seen that once again I haven't followed my own advice and did not check the picture of the noodles I had the other night that were delicious and ironically vegan, even though it's beef flavoured. And because I really need to eat, as we all do, and I struggle with it due to the medication I take, my really clever plan, which I thought it was to buy 2 packets of the six packs. So then I'd have 12, and I'd be able to like make myself eat one for lunch every day because I'm really enjoying porridge. I actually bought a soy milky chilled milk because normally I just have porridge with like way too much brown sugar. Actually, it's funny because I was making it yesterday and I was thinking about being a child making porridge and how we were obviously like disciplined to not overuse the sugar. Well, I'm like a big child without anyone disciplining me, so I'm pretty sure I continued to take a very nutritious, delicious breakfast of porridge and then turn it into a very big, sweet, unhealthy mess. But it's delicious, so who cares? But yeah, I got milk, soy milk to try with it. Anyway, the noodles are the wrong brand. They're currently over there sitting in the boiling water. I'm praying that they taste okay, because you wouldn't think there'd be a huge difference with cup and noodles between the brands. I have found that there really is. Like, I don't like Maggi. These ones are fantastic. The ones I wanted were Silman or something. I don't know how to say the word correctly, but anyway. So I didn't get my assignment in last night. I thought that I would, except that I've been in this really funky mood, as you probably know if you've been watching along. Just having this internal war inside of my head about the fact that I'm such a fucking loser, basically, that I have no friends except for my friendly neighbour Andrew and Grant, who's known me for like a very long time. And then I was like thinking about all the people that have come and gone in my life, and I think I mentioned this yesterday. But then I messaged one of my like closest friends who I met in my very first year at university in 2017, and we were doing the same degree, psych and philosophy, and we're very similar. And I messaged her because I'd messaged her for Christmas and New Year's, and we haven't seen each other in a while. And I messaged her yesterday, no, not yesterday, the day before, and I was like, hey, how are you? You know, are you still around? It'd be good to catch up, sort of, you know, I know it's been ages, but basically I'm like, we're still good friends, yeah? And she didn't reply straight away. And then yesterday I sent her a message saying, hey, are you okay? And she sent me, and she's like me, she talks. And in the end, she just rung me. And I was sitting at my desk for a little while, talking to her, thinking maybe I could just, like, I didn't know how long the phone call would go, but because it's been so long and because she and I are talkers, like I said, I packed everything up while on the phone to her and went to my room. So I still have the rest of my to do, which I'm going to do after I've had some food. But I wanted to make my video now because I really don't like leaving them to the last moment because I'm just too tired, truthfully. And yeah, the other thing to mention was I had a bunch of tests done, right? It's a lot of the reasons why I wanted a local doctor. And some of the results came back not good, I guess you could say. and I was advised that I'd be being put on a waiting list to go into hospital for a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. I think endoscopy, both of them, each end with cameras, right? Anyway, I've had them both before. It's not like it's something new for me. What is new for me though is opening my mail from the hospital and being told that I am placed on level 1, which is urgent, and the categories are category 1, urgent, needs to be treated within 30 days, category 2, semi-urgent, within 90 days, and then category 3 within 120 days. But yeah, I don't recall ever being on an urgent waiting list. Semi-urgent before, sure. Urgent, no. So, there's that. But like I said, I've done them both before. It's no real big deal. The only thing I ever have problems with when it comes to appointments is that the hospitals are really pretty strict about how you get home. Because I remember the last time I had one of these, it's the family dramas again, but I honestly didn't think I had a way to get home. And I was trying to convince the people in the hospital to let me just take a cab. Yeah, let me take a cab and get home. And that isn't actually allowed because of all the medication and the drowsiness and the blah blah bullshit hospital stuff, yeah? And even though I'm perfectly capable living my life as it is, without being surrounded by people, when that stuff happens, it's hard not to immediately think, who can I ask to help me? Yeah? Because I don't really have very many people that I can ask. And the two people that I do ask, I'm at that point where it's like, I feel guilty. I don't want my friends, the very few friends I've got, thinking that I'm taking advantage of them, because it's never ever want to do that to someone. It's just like, there's not much I can say. I'm on an urgent waiting list to go in to fucking hospital for surgery, and if that isn't enough, I have no idea who to ask to pick me up, or I can take a cab there, I guess, or an Uber. But yeah, like I said, I've been through this before without having people to pick me up, and the one time that I'm thinking of, my mother was actually in the country. It's another one of those, I love my mum and I know she loves me, but we're definitely better off with an ocean between us. And I hate that that's the fact. I would give anything in the entire world to have a deep, meaningful relationship with my mum. But I would really like to have a deep, meaningful relationship with anybody at this rate, because I don't know, maybe it's me, maybe I am crazy, but I swear to fucking God, the world is so superficial. It's hard not to get dragged down into the darkness and the nothingness with it, is my theory. And when I'm in these fucking funky moods, because I'm so connected to the collective consciousness, I feel it all. Not just mine, I feel all the collective consciousness. Again, I'm going to clarify. If you've no fucking idea what I'm talking about, that's cool. And those of you who do, you'll get it. Thankfully, I've recorded the fucking tutoring session, and I've been screenshotting how far into it that I am, so I've just checked and I'm like, please tell me I've got the screenshot. Wish I had looked at my fucking pictures before getting the noodles. Please let them be okay. Don't get me wrong, they're like cup of noodles. They're not expensive. But as I keep telling people, I'm on disability, paying for uni, paying for tutoring, paying for all of my bills. There's only so much someone can do, yeah? And I'm fucking incredibly proud of the fact that I am actually managing this. I would also really, actually, I've just remembered, I need to call the council, because St. Andrew today, right, I was like, when I type my address into something, and say it'd be like Uber Eats, or like I got my electric toothbrush, which, wow, that is fucking a whole different kettle of brushing your teeth thing. I tell you what, I now understand why people say to get them. Again, it's another thing, like I said to Andrew, I need to read the instructions, because I fully remember it saying something like it vibrates every 30 seconds to let you know to like change parts. So 30 seconds like on each corner of your mouth or teeth. And at first I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing wrong. So then I started like timing it on my phone and like putting the 2-minute timer on my phone and then hitting it at the same time. And it goes all the way through. But it only vibrates at the end. And just more and more things I need to put on my list of shit to do. Yeah. Along with, well, thankfully Andrew again helped me today. So Sebastian's enclosure's gone. The big fucking one I've got at the back, I've got someone interested in. And so I went out there, she wanted more pictures. And I went out there and I like actually used the broom and the dustpan and everything and dusted it off, because in all fairness, the pictures I put on Gumtree, I hadn't. I was just like, give me an offer, you know, like I don't want to deal with this stuff, yeah. But when I did that yesterday, I went to try and move the glass doors and they were very rigidly stuck. And I was like too stoned, truthfully, to be able to even, like I tried to dust it out. I got the dustpan, I used sort of like the end of it, trying to get it in the tracks, all sorts, yeah. Couldn't get it to move, and was at that point where if I try anymore, there's too much of a chance it'll break. And having had to replace glass on Sebastian's enclosure, side note, that was a funny story. I was moving from one house to another house, like share houses in between living by myself and back to living by myself, and somehow the enclosure that stands upright was put the other way and the glass just fell, shattered, obviously. So I had Sebastian in a tank with half of the glass like frame, the beginning, like the glass door, and then cardboard as best as we could possibly do to keep him in there while I ordered new glass. That didn't work, FYI. Snakes are smarter than that. Every single time he got out and we lost him, and then I'd have to search the fucking house to find him, which I can tell you right now, even as someone who's owned a snake for 18 years, losing them, I remember when I was way back 19, when I sort of gotten to Melbourne and I got him and knew absolutely literally nothing about them, which I find really ironic now, 18 years down the track, about how little a person needs to truly know anything about a particular, you know, species, whatever it is, before they're allowed to buy them. Because it's all well and good to get a license, which I had and have had for years. That doesn't actually necessarily mean shit, yeah? It's, don't get me wrong, you learn as you go, but I mean, that's what people say about children, and I'm like, I don't really feel like that's how we should be raising our kids. You learn as you go. Look at how fucked up our world is. But it's another thing again. But yeah, anyway, I was speaking to Andrew and I was like, do you know what I can do to fix this? Because it's the only thing I need to do. And she's like, I'm not in a rush, because I said to her, look, if you're happy to figure it out yourself, just make me an offer and come get it. I don't care. And she was like, no, it's all good. You take, she's like, I'm not in a rush. And I was like, okay. She still needs to find someone to move it, and a van, and it's big, this enclosure, yeah. I think it's like 4 foot or something across. Might be, no, I think it's bigger. No idea. Anyway, Andrew, once again, thank you, helped me. He was like, what have you got that we can use? And I told him I'm using the like end of the dustbin. He's like, that's not going to work. So I had this like mini flat screwdriver, and he came out with me, and we've got it to the point. I say let's face it, Andrew does all this, the hard work. again, thank you, you're awesome. And it's at the point now where it is moving. The glass is moving, and that's fantastic. It's still a bit stuck, but we got most of it out. This angle's fucking with me. Yeah, we got most of the stuff out. Excuse me, and the glass is moving now. So really, I mean, it would be fine. We decided, again, Andrew does all the thinking. I just take his advice. That I still need to like vacuum out the rest of the dust out of the tracks. And that was my original thought, but then I was like, I've got a Dyson vacuum cleaner, but I've got like the very, very first original model ever made. That's how old it is. And I have none of the other heads except for the one that's on it. And in my mind, I'm like, if I try to do that, it's going to suck it all up. Thank you. Comes to my rescue. Times then I know I can't even think of it. Honestly, I don't know what I'd do some of the time if he had saved me. You are amazing. I hope you're hearing this. But anyway, his fantastic idea was to just like put like a cardboard behind it and then vacuum in it. So I'm going to try that. Because I don't really want to deal with it. I just gone because I think I was saying before about my address. Now I've been talking about this for I don't know how long. Hold on. I need water. I'm probably fucking up my noodles leaving it this long. They'll be right though. See, I'm not hungry. Not hungry. I've only been up for, I don't know, like 3 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. But I've been talking about the fact that ever since my old landlord put me through fucking the biggest crises, fucking terrified me, oh my god, I've got to be out of my house in 60 days, I'm moving into my car feeling, I'm very aware that I have a lot in my house. Like I'm 37 years old. I've been living alone for over 10, yeah? It's not, and I'm going to probably sound really sexist right now, so please don't take it that way, even though I already can hear in my head that it will be somewhat taken this way. But when I go to a male's house, for example, or whether it's a father and a son, just male housemates, whoever the hell it might be, I can't help but notice it's bare. Like, it's very bare, but absolute bare basics in these houses. And I'm, in my head, recalling quite a lot. Probably because, as most of us know, I went through a phase of I'm going to get Mr. X out of my mind, out of my soul, out of my psyche, out of my everything by dating as much as I can. That did not work at all. In fact, all it did was make me go, I'm done. I'm done. Well over 2 years since I've had sex. It's been a lot longer than that since I've dated, and I'm good with that, right? But my point being is the houses that are only occupied by males are usually just bare basics, a couch, a TV, whatever plates and cups they need just for themselves, and a bed and maybe a computer. Which I find funny because my house is so fucking full of shit. It's going to take so long to get through it. And since I don't deal with overwhelm or anxiety or pressure, climate, any, I just sort of stick and be like, I'm going to smoke some weed and just know that it'll all figure itself out, truthfully. But the reason I'm saying all of this is because, like, I've started slowly pulling shit out of the shed, yeah? I've finally got the spider enclosures out. And I've got, like, the big 52-litre, like, plastic containers on wheels. Like, I've got one that's full of every single fucking pair of shoes I think I've ever bought since living in Australia. And obviously for the last over 5 years. Excuse me. Oh, fucking hell. This is why I need to eat. If they've been in my shed for that long, and then I'm pretty sure they were in the shed for that long at my old house, so we're looking at approximately 10 years. I've had a fucking humongous container of storage container full of shoes. Now, hoarders, I've never been able to understand. When, you for example, you walk into someone's house. I have a neighbour a number of doors down, and I was in excruciating pain, and we'd been talking outside because I was walking the dog, and I had called her to ask her if she would help me, because don't get me wrong, I'm so used to being to the stuff I can do by myself, but there are times when I just desperately need somebody's help to put cream or ointment or something on me in a place that I just can't reach, and if I even try to reach, it's just going to make everything a billion times harder, right? And this woman and I, we talk every time I see her. If she's out in the garden or she sees me when I'm walking by, she'll come out and talk to me, and she's very lovely. Not someone I'd be able to spend a lot of time with unless I was getting paid for it in a professional setting, which probably sounds really hard, or really bad, but I do because I know so many of us are all fucked up. I just talk about it because I'm so sick of the bullshit and the fakeness. I mean, jump on anybody's Instagram or Facebook is my theory, and you're only going to see all the most amazing best times of these people's lives. Jump on my website on the other hand, and you'll be like, wow, that woman just shares it all. And like I said yesterday, if I share it all, it's out in the open. There ain't no skeletons anyone can bring out and fucking fuck with me over, because it's like, here they all are, I'm gonna share them myself, yeah? Which I always found really funny. Not always. I still find it funny. I'm never going to stop. Yeah, people are like, wow, I said to my friend, I was like, because I started making the videos, the ones I didn't release, when I met her. And it was her. She was the secretary of the Philosophical Society Club, right, at the uni I go to. And I went to the very first one, and obviously she was there. And that was the one where the very first topic of the year of 2017 was the morals and ethics of eating meat. I love how the universe works, because it cracks me up every time I think of it, because I went to bat about why I was going to be a meat eater until I died. I argued the case every which way possible, and there were vegans and vegetarians in the group, so we're obviously having a full-blown philosophical debate. That's what the club was for. And I was like, it's never going to happen. Never, ever, ever in anyone's wild dream am I going to stop eating meat or seafood or animal products. There's just no way, no how that I could have conceived that. Which I find really ironic when I say it back, because I very distinctly remember sitting on my couch, smoking an ice pipe, reading about how I need to stop smoking ice. And that probably sounds like I'm really dumb, but it's like there's obviously a process on how really hardcore drugs affect us. And as any of you who've been following along with me would see, I literally put myself into shock. I put my body into shock by stopping all my pain medication recently without even thinking about it. And when I decided I was quitting ice, I just went to Google and I was like, hey Google, how is this shit affecting me? What is it I need to know? So that it's like cigarettes, it's like alcohol, it's like anything. It's like you can stop, you put it down, you tell yourself, I'm just not doing it anymore, I'm stronger than that. But cravings, they make you feel like you're going to go insane. Some of the cravings I had, I remember spending 5 hours one night looking for drugs, because I was that person who'd buy my drugs in bulk, better value that way, and then I would separate it all into like little wee ones, and then I'd hide it all over my house so that when I ran out, I hadn't really run out. I had emergency stashes, yeah? But there was multiple times where I thought I had emergency stashes. I couldn't get a hold of the people the drugs from, and in the house I used to live in, there were those, instead of grass, there were those, I don't know what kind of rock they are, but they're like tiny little fucking, like, not much bigger than the size of like a top of a pen, white rocks, yeah, everywhere. Boss would run, go crazy, right? He'd bring them in, bring them out. And a particular time where I was just going insane. This was before I decided to stop, mind you, now that I'm recalling the story. And I can't help but laugh, all right? So about my ice days, I don't want anyone to ever take it like I'm so flippant about it because it doesn't matter. I'm flippant about it because it matters, yeah? But this particular moment, or this time I'm thinking of, so again, I had lots of ice pipes. You never want anything to go wrong, and they can break and all sorts of shit. And I tried smoking so of those fucking rocks in the hopes that it wasn't a rock, it was a crystal. So when I say I went to Google, and that's just one of like so many stories. So when I say I went to Google to see how to manage it, I was thinking of the fact that I could put it down and walk away and be like, yep, cool, I'm done. But I knew that I would get to a point in time where the craving would override that, right? That's how most people would think about addiction. That's where the disease comes in, is we're taught to believe it. I am in support of absolutely everyone, regardless of whoever they are or what they've done. I've said that since day dot. People who take drugs are still people. I was still a person, and so was everybody else, yeah? But it's fucking difficult to get past shit, all right? And I truly believe that I went through what I did to help people because of that feeling, right? And tying it back into uni and philosophy and meat and stuff, it was interesting to me because I was on the ice trying to figure out exactly how it affected me day by day, week by week, like when exactly the cravings would kick in, how the cravings would start, so that I would be heightenedly aware going started, because I needed to have think to override it, right? Because without the overriding of these cravings, in all fairness, I can see why people relapse, yeah? But yeah, it was that day on my couch, smoking an ice pipe, learning how to not smoke an ice pipe. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to really recall that part of my story without finding it just so fucking amusing. But yeah, it was then that I had a thought in my mind in that moment. I remember it like it just happened yesterday, where my little intuitive voice, the one that said check the fucking picture for my noodles, was like, all these changes are happening. Because mind you, my spiritual awakening started with Mr. X. Well, it's all very confusing. Like, I've been spiritual my whole life. I just never, ever, ever admitted it because of society. Now I'm fully like, I don't really give a fuck, yeah? Which I think you can tell by the fact I've been making videos for 405 days in a row. That's today. But But yeah, so my little intuitive voice was like, I wonder if this means we're going to quit meat. Like, everything was changing within me. I was like, it was this rising version of, I'm seeing everything differently. And again, this was before uni, because I smoked my very last ice pipe on the 24th of July at 4:30 in the morning in 2016. I started university at the beginning of trimester 1 in 2017. Not a long, yeah. So yeah, it does make me laugh. But my friend, right, so has been ages. She's finished uni for the moment, right? And she's working, doing what I was doing as support work boss now, right? She's just gone, and now she's at this level. So she rang me last night, and we were having a great catch up. And that's when I was like, no more uni's getting done today. And that's fine, because it is only 3:11 in the afternoon, and I've, like I said, not been awake for long, so I'm gonna sit here until it's submitted, because it's due tomorrow, and I have a quiz that's due on the 10th that I haven't even watched the classes for. I think I've watched one because I needed it for the particular assignment I'm doing. I'm fully like, what'll be will be. Thankfully, determinism and free, so, you know, that helps. I'll give you that one. But yeah, so I haven't eaten meat or fucking anything like that, and it was like a year after I quit the ice. I remember, because my sister and niece's birthday is the 25th of July, and the reason mine was the 24th is there'd been a function for them way, like, I don't live anywhere near them, on the 23rd, which was a Saturday, and I hadn't seen Mr. X since April, and he had messaged me out of the blue on this particular day, and I couldn't believe it, because all I cared about in the world back then was him. He trumped everything. It didn't matter to me who you were or what you were or anything. If you weren't him, you would be put at the end of the list. I'm pretty sure I've said that to people at that time multiple times. So because I was trying to become a better version of me, when he was like, can we catch up? And, you know, this is the love of my life. I had to say no. And he was contacting me throughout the evening, right? And in doing so I hadn't eaten. I think scaled half a bottle of wine with my sister because her partner was driving, and then still, for as long as I can remember, I don't know why this is, but it is the case. When I'm drinking, I can't. I eat either before I'm about like going to drink, so properly eat and then start drinking, you know, whenever later. Or I drink, which is usually what happens, and then I eat once I've stopped drinking and I've smoked a bunch of it, right? But that's how it is. And it can fuck me up, because sometimes I drink and obviously I'm on a fucking bucket load of medication. Though at the time I wasn't, because let's face it, I smoked ice. Anyway, we got to this place where a function was going to be, yeah, and like I think my father and stepmother were there, and the kids, and I don't know, a whole bunch of people I don't know, yeah, but I couldn't have cared less. And in all honesty, I think they probably would agree, looking back, that it would have been better off at just. Looks like I'm slowing down. Even my at uni is like, you need to apply for the free computer. It is not working. I know. But yeah, so I very much ruined everybody's night that night. Like, absolutely done 1000% the wrong thing by everybody. And I don't fully remember much, but I know that I was downing very strong drinks, trying to make myself feel better, because it January, March, April, May, June, July, I hadn't seen him, and I knew something was going on because I went in April to another friend. I know the separation is coming. I can feel it. This is coming. Like, I'm not going to see him for years. And that's when she suggested I baby trap him, and I was like, not a chance. The women who do that are also fucked up in my mind. Like, you know, I'm personally one of those people who don't agree that accidents are accidents. If you're having unprotected sex and a baby happens, well, we all know how babies are made. If you're using condoms and birth control and you get pregnant, that's a different story. And in my eyes, that's a miracle baby, not a mistake. But yeah, so like I said, this particular night, don't remember much of it. Just I remember downing drinks one after another, not eating, basically not talking to any of them, but on my phone with him. I remember crying in the bathroom, and obviously, like I said, I ruined every single person's night and embarrassed the shit out of my sister and her family and friends and all of that. And, you know, I mean, they do have the excuse my sister is a fucking fuck up, I guess, in that sense at the time. What happened afterwards, I must admit, is interesting in the sense of I took off, yeah? I didn't know actually where I was because we live fucking hours away from each other, all right? And I just took off into the night, left. No idea where I was. Dark, up some mountain or something somewhere. Don't know. I don't know if I even told people. I don't know any of what actually happened, right? And the next memory I've got is being in my father's car, and I don't know how. And then they told me, and they were like, "You've got a guardian angel." And I was like, "Yep, I keep getting told this." And I'm like, "Tell me what happened." And they were like, "You took off and no one knew where you'd gone." And I was like, "Yep, cool." They're like, "We obviously had to come and find you." Yep, appreciate that, right? Like, "We found you on the side of the road." Like, I was not standing, I was like sitting on the side of the road covered in mud, and they were like, "There was somebody with you. There was somebody standing behind you." And I'm like, okay. And from the way they've told me the story, and they've obviously told me the story a couple times because it's so fucking trippy. They're born again Christians. I'm spiritual. I personally think, except for the fact that all fucking religions are in competition with each other, like, we all pretty much agree with the same stuff. There's a higher power and things happening that we can't see. Love is the answer, not greed, not fucking control, not power, blah, blah, blah. But I could talk for hours and I'm already at nearly 40 minutes. Anyway, they were obviously driving down the road. It's pitch black. The lights of the car's on. They find me and there's a person standing behind me. An old man, they said. And they said that they could see this standing behind me until they got to me, and then he disappeared. And I'm like, what does that mean? And they're like, he literally didn't exist. Like, he wasn't there. They're like, we looked all around everywhere. Like, we could see him right until we got there, basically. He got to you, and this man vanished. And they're like, the literal only thing I can think of is that you have someone watching over you. And I'm like, well, yeah, no, I did know that in a sense because I knew what I was going through, but I guess that helped. But again, all of this I forgot because I'm like becoming in and out of coherency, yeah? The next thing I remember of this particular, I have no idea why I'm telling this story, but I think it all ties in. But the next thing I remember is I'm in bed and my phone is going off and it's my sister. And I'm getting message after message after message after message just coming in from everyone about how much of a shit fucking person I am and all the things I've done. At that moment, I was like, I have literally no idea what any of you were even talking about. Like, I came and celebrated your birthday. They gave me a ride home. What's the big problem? That's where my level of awareness was at. Just like, you're all, yeah? And sort of just was like, fuck it. And then I must have got up to use the bathroom or something, and I walked past the clothes I've been wearing, and then I picked them up, and they were covered in mud, just covered in mud, and I'm like, okay, so there are definitely parts of this story I don't know or understand, right? And that's when I was like, trying to put it all together in my head. So I went back and started reading. Still, till this day, don't have any other memories except the ones I've just shared. And that was when I was in the process at that point of weaning myself off ice, I think. Like, it wasn't like I was smoking every day up until we went to this place, because when I smoked every day, I didn't see anyone, or like, I didn't leave my home. The only people I saw truly throughout my ice phase was Mr. X. The people I got my ice from, other people who smoked it, I guess, and the escorts I paid for, because I like to watch, and I like watching Mr. X. So those are about the people I saw, yeah? And obviously, like I said, I was figuring out the right way to go. But in that moment, once I think I realised I really fucked shit up, I called my dealer, but he's my friend. He's technically still my friend, ironically enough. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, but it's really bad, and all of this has happened, and I've missed Mr. X, so can you please come to my house, like, immediately? And he did. And that was it, 4:30 in the morning on the 24th, because the 23rd was the Saturday of the party. So the 24th, 4:30 in the morning. That's the very last time I smoked an ice pipe. But yeah, I just find the whole thing, like, it all ties into each other. And like I said, it was the same birthday, because my sister and her daughter have the same birthday. The following year, when I'd already started becoming really unwell every time I ate meat. I'd eat meat and I'd vomit. And eat meat, then it got to the point of vomiting blood, and then it was just like this fucking, okay, I'm hearing it. My higher self is cracking down. That's got to go too. And yeah, I've just been on this journey for so long now, and sometimes it's really, as I said to Andrew this morning, like, my self-awareness is so fucking high. It's not always great. I mean, it is great because you got to fix the shit. I'm trying to fix the shit, but like I said to him, I've got fantastic self-awareness around many different multiple things. I'm like, doesn't make it any easier to put this stuff into place. But I had literally no idea that I would talk for 44 minutes and 25 seconds. But this is why I love making videos. I have to finish this because, like I said, it's due tomorrow. I don't want or need to spend any more time on it because I need to get this quiz done ASAP because it's only 4.5%. And then the quiz is literally not the quiz. The exam is 1 week from today, everyone. On the 14th of February, I have accepted there will be nobody here. I will just have to do whatever it takes to stay calm, and that's all I can do. So I'm going to stop talking and upload this because I'm curious to know how the noodles are going. They might be quite gross after 40 minutes, so I might have to eat something else. But yeah, this is me for now. I have to go and finish schoolwork. Thank you all for watching. I do love seeing you all following along. Makes my day. So talk later.